Hello, I'm Harley Tuck with MISquared. This video covers OpenEMR's billing workflow for submitting X12 claims. Please note, all patients, data, diagnoses, codes, and treatments shown in this demo are fictitious and false. The OpenEMR we're using is version 4.2, which is essentially the same as 4.1.3. However, all the things that we're looking at here apply to any of the 4.1 series releases. This billing workflow does depend on a couple upstream setups having already been done correctly. And once you know the settings are good, you don't have to check them again. But let's look at them briefly first. First thing you want to do is go to the left nav menu under Administration, Facilities. Open the facility that's your billing location and make sure that the POS code, the place of service code, says office. Or actually, if you're submitting some claims that for services that were rendered outside the office, like maybe one of your providers went to the hospital or rendered some services in a hospital, you would change it to the appropriate code, which might be 21 for inpatient hospital, or anyway, whatever's appropriate. And be sure and change the POS code before you submit those claims. Okay, so if you've made any changes, make sure and click Save at the top of the panel. Next, go to Administration, click Practice, and in the line of links along the top, click X12 Partners. And of course, you probably don't have this many, but as many as you've got, each one needs to be filled out correctly. Let's look at backyard billing here. The information on this should be obtained from your X12 partner, and they should be able to help you get it set up correctly. But one thing you're going to want to make sure is this version item down here. OpenEMR comes by default set to the 4010 claim form. If you're using 5010, make sure and set it here in this version item. Okay, so if you've made any changes, click Save. And then still in practice settings, go over to the insurance companies and make sure that every one of them has its default X12 partner indicated in the drop-down list at the bottom of the list. And then if you've made changes, click Save. Okay, now let's run a couple claims. You don't need to be a system admin to do this. So I'm going to log out and come back as Radar O'Reilly, my front desk billing guy. And you don't have to be signed into a patient's record to do this either. So just log in, the billing person, log in and go over to the left navigation menu, click on Fees, and then Billing. Now this is a display of the claims that are set up for today. You check the current criteria, the search criteria that produce these: billing status, unbilled, date of service today. Now I've set up two claims, a good claim and a bad claim, so that we can see what the difference is in how they work, and we can see how to correct a bad claim. Rebecca's claim is good. Look at the information presented in these columns. She's got all the 7 items that are needed for a good claim. We have the the insurance, the insurance's X12 partner. We have CPT codes. Each CPT code has its justifying ICD-9 code. We have for each fee, for each code, CPT code, we have its fee and its provider. And of course the data service is going to be there. So those are the 7 things that you need for a good claim. And so let's process Rebecca's claim and see what a good one processes like. You select the claim that you want to work with by clicking in the little checkbox at the right end of it. That activates this line of buttons. On the left you click Generate X12. You answer OK. Now this produces the batch file, which on a good one is going to be sent off to the clearinghouse. You want to save the file. It's going to go into your web browser's default download directory, which is where you're going to go get it when it's time to send it off to the clearinghouse. Now, once that file is downloaded, always click the link in the top right corner, View Log. This tells you what errors, if any, were contained in that claim. The new log entries are added to the bottom of the screen, so slide on down to the bottom. And the claim for Rebecca Allen, no errors. It's a good one. Okay, now when you're doing billing, get into the habit of surveying these claims right off the bat and correcting everything that you can, and sending off to the doctor the stuff, or the provider, the claims that they have to fix. Leona Andrews, for example, is missing some things, but let's process this claim just to see what a bad one process is like. Let's unselect Rebecca. We're done with her. Okay, Leona, click in the checkbox in the far right of her line, and top left, Generate X12 button. Click that, say OK, save the file to the downloads directory, and view log. Slide down at the bottom of that screen, and it's got errors. This claim has no charges. Rendering provider has no NPI. Procedure 99212 and 99214 ain't justified. So let's go about fixing them. Now you notice that log has got the answers to a lot of questions, or a lot of problems, and I can't even count the number of times I've cured refused claims just by looking in the logs and correcting the errors that they give you, which is what we're going to do now. If you don't look in the log every time, you will eventually miss something and you won't even know it until the claim gets refused. Okay, now OpenEMR won't let you edit a billed claim, so you have to reopen it. Okay, and you have to search on the claim to get it back so that you can reopen it. Now we know this is a billed claim, and so we're going to go find the billed claims for this date. Search criteria up here in the search tool. Data service today, that's good. Unbilled billing status, no, we want the billed ones. So let's remove that one and go find billing status billed. Okay, click update list, and it doesn't look like it's changed, but we happen to know that both of these are billed claims. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to reopen Leona, so we select her claim in the little checkbox at the right, and then in this line of buttons, at the right of the line of buttons, there's that one that says reopen, so we click that. And it tells us that that claim has been reopened, and we come back, and here we are. Okay, now this claim is reopened, and we can get in there and clean up those errors. If the errors mentioned any problems that involve demographics, see this link right here, we could click on to Dems, and it would show up Leona's demographic summary in the bottom pane of this display. But those errors did not involve demographics, they involved the fee sheet, which is in the encounter, so we click on this link to encounter that particular encounter. And that encounter summary appears in the bottom part of the display, as you see right here. Okay, the fee sheet is in the administrative menu item. There, select the fee sheet and bring it back. So now we have the offending fee sheet. Let's go take a look at those errors that it showed. Okay, down here, this claim has no charges. Okay, let's look at this fee sheet, and sure enough, 2 claims, no charges, no prices in there. So let's just put some money in here. Okay, now it's got some charges. Go back and look at the errors. Rendering provider has no NPI. Well, the rendering provider is down at the bottom here. Rendering, please, there is no rendering provider selected, so no wonder it doesn't have an NPI. And I gotta say, this is probably the most common error with these claims, is that the provider's in a rush and they save on out of here without selecting themselves. So let's say James Kildare, Dr. Kildare, provided these services, is the rendering provider. Let's go check the errors again. Procedure 99212 is not justified, and neither is the other one. Let's go back here. Well, we do have a diagnosis, so we're going to use that diagnosis in the justification drop down. And again, this is probably something that the provider would have to repair. You know, the billing person would tell them, you need to select which diagnosis is going to justify these treatments. And that was, yeah, that's all the errors. So we've got everything in place. Click the save button at the bottom here. And now we want to refresh what the billing manager knows of this claim. So you click the update list up in the top right. And now you see, now this claim has all the 7 things. It's got the insurance, the X12, CPT, justifying ICD-9, the fees, the providers, the date, everything. Let's run this one. Click its checkbox to the right, click Generate X12, click OK, click Save File, click View Log. And Leona J. Andrews is good. Okay, now the process seems a little bit complex, and it is, but it's fairly logical, and once you get used to it, you're going to be able to scan a whole day's worth of claims, fix the ones you can, and send them off, and then send the others that the provider has to fix off to them, and take care of business real quick. Now, frankly, that's the claims submission workflow. Thank you very much.